Good morning, YouTube. So I'm out in the original orchid house today and just having a nosy around. Yeah, so as you can see, the streptocarpus are all looking fabulous. Really happy with them. They've all reflowered for me except this little fella here. But when I look, he is growing like sort of new shoots down the bottom there. Maybe he's busy doing that rather than doing flowers. That's the dog outside. But everything else is reflowered. The big ones down the bottom are starting to come into flower now. This one's taking his time, but I'm sure you'll get there. Can't see any evidence of new flowers yet, but I'm sure they'll come. That's just a flowering ginger, I think it is, which I got this year, so that's doing well. So yeah, everything's doing great in here. The lovely, oh, I can't remember what this one's called, but it's a, jewel orchid. That's a cutting my friend gave me, and that's coming away nicely, so really pleased with that. All the little babies are doing okay. And the violets are loving it in here. Absolutely loving it. So, I've made some decisions around what I'm going to do this year regarding where I'm going to keep my orchids autumn, winter, early spring. So, if I go back here a little bit, I'll explain. So, currently, African violets used to live in there, and every orchid I owned used to live in here, which was quite squashed. It was pretty much full. So what I've decided this year is I'm just going to put in here the warm growing orchids. So things like cattleyas and some of the oncidiums are going to go in here, along with the violets. Are going to be good in there. The rest of this lot can go back in this greenhouse for the winter because they survive perfectly okay in there for the winter. As you can see, this one's currently empty. Lights are off, saving electricity, etc. But they can go in here, and some of the house plants from indoors will go in here as well. I don't need all those plants indoors. Plus, you know, I shall leave the succulents where they are. If I get any more, then I'm going to have to rethink about different positions. But yeah, they're all fine in here. And not only that, all these geraniums I've got in here at the moment, I have got a place for them for the winter as well. So I'll discuss that with you next. Just wanted to show you, this is my new workstation that my husband set up for me. It's great. That plant's there because that needs to be repotted soon. My good friend gave me that one and he wasn't sure whether it was buggy, but it's not buggy. I've had it months now and there's no evidence of bugs on it. This is a really good tray for repotting. I actually repot all my orchids in this mix now, which is a mix of all sorts, different sized barks, a bit of riverstone, a bit of this, a bit of that. And this is quite good because, I don't know if you can see, I don't know if I'm filming it, but it's got a hole here. So it gets water in it when it rains, but it doesn't get very high. And it keeps the bark quite rehydrated, which is good. And this one just collects water, rainwater, which is great if I need it. So let's go in the main area where all the orchids are. Now, they're doing remarkably well. We've had some really cold nights for summer. It's actually got down to, well, the forecast was getting down to 7 degrees at night, and I panicked. I thought, oh my God. But to be honest with you, I thought, ugh, they've got to get on with it. I can't keep panicking about these orchids out here, and they've got to get on with it. I do have a thermometer in here, a temperature gauge, and when I checked it on those cold nights, it actually didn't go below 10 degrees. So some would argue that that's a little cold for cattleyas and some of the oncidiums and some of the others. But to be honest with you, I think 1 or 2 nights in a blue moon is probably not going to harm them. So the decision around where the rest of the orchids are going to go, so the cool growers and all the others, they are going to stay in here. What we've decided to do is we're going to get a smaller polytunnel. So this polytunnel is currently, or poly shade house, whatever you want to call it, is currently 8.5 meters by 3 meters wide, and we're thinking of getting a 3 meter by 2 meter wide one with a plastic cover and putting it in here down the end. So everything can go in there. My husband said he can get electricity to it, so I'll still be able to have the foggers if I need them, and I'll still be able to put the heaters on at night if needed. So, and I can also, if really needed, I could actually double skin it if I wanted to, and therefore they can just live in here all year round. And yeah, it is be so much easier for me. I can make as much mess as I want out here and, you know, slop it all around. I can wet the floor down better in here because it's just bark for humidity during, you know, the summer months. And also, you know, I can just pull them out. If it's getting too hot in there, I can just pull them out, put old tables down the side and down this side like they are, and it'll be great. So that's the decision. And also, you know, if they don't like it in there, well, they don't belong here in my home. Because that's how I'm going to look after them from now on, because I've got a lot of stuff to look after, and you know, I don't have the time to give each individual orchid individual care, unfortunately. I've amassed a collection quite quickly. I probably didn't think about what I should get and what I shouldn't get. I was just, if you like, greedy, and I just got what I could. But now it's a case of, here is the place you're going to live. You either survive or you don't survive. What survives, I'll just keep to those, and the ones that don't survive, I'm not going to battle with the elements anymore. They've got to just get on with it. And having said that, as you know, I keep all my cymbidiums down the end here. They're great here for the summer. They live here, well, they've been living here all summer. Along with the Chinese ground orchid here and some of the cymbidiums back there, and they're going to have a new home as well. So I'll just go around there now and show you where that is. So I've decided that the cymbidiums are going to start living here. As you can see, if I go inside, the old fella's orchids are still here. That's not until February. They goes to the sales table, and his cymbidiums are all hanging on the fence there. Now, they're not getting enough light for flowering, I believe, in this area throughout summer. They're not, my cymbidiums are not coming in here through the summer. They're going to go out in faux sun somewhere, and that's to be thought about. And maybe if I've got room in that shade tunnel, they'll go back in there for the summer. But for the winter, so if I pan around here, and you can see this is the house, and above is the blue sky. So the sun comes along here in the winter, and it comes along down low, above these trees, but it comes down low. So therefore, in the late afternoon, or midday, late afternoon, all the cymbidiums in the winter, late autumn, winter, are going to be hanging, as many as I can, or stood down below on this fence line. So the ones that are in plastic pots can be hung, and I think my husband said he can work out how to hang the ones in clay pots as well. But as many as we can put along this fence line, they're underneath the trees. They're not going to get any frost, but they're going to get some winter sunshine, and hopefully that'll help with, you know, keeping the spikes going. They will get that cold, you know, that cold drop that they need in the autumn to initiate spiking. So I think this is probably the best area for the cymbidiums, bearing in mind I've got about, you know, I've got about probably 25, 30 of them, and I think this is probably the best place. I'm not going to be putting any of my other orchids in this area, because although it's probably frost free, I don't think there's enough light in there, and I don't want to start thinking about lighting. Yes, we can get electricity in there, but I don't want to be spending out on lighting when basically I've got that other shade tunnel, and we can just, you know, all right, yes, I am buying a greenhouse, but they're cheap, those greenhouses, and you know, and it will be handy in there. If we move one day, we can take that setup with us. It's not so, it'll be a lot easier. Like, I can't take the current orchid house with me. That's fixed. It you know, it lives here. So if I do move, I will have another option, and we can take that with us. So that's the decision. So I want to thank everybody who's actually put in suggestions, and a couple of them said, you know, their orchids do have a little bit of a cold chill, and it seems to initiate spiking, and I think probably that's probably going to help with some of them. I know not all of them, but hey, like I said, they got to get on with it, and yeah. So anyway, so thanks for watching. Please like or dislike and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.